You are meant for more. You are, and don't even question that. Just know it. You don't have to question it. You don't have to know why. You don't need to know what it is you're meant to do, but you have something in you that no one else has. You are unique, and the world needs you just like you. Hey, my name is Stephanie Simmons, and I'm completely obsessed with living in a culture of freedom and helping you maneuver your way through the chaos to the calm. As a small city mom of 6, I took my life into my own hands, quit my job, and went all in on my side hustle, creating the freedom to not only make my own schedule, but to make time for the people and things that matter most in life. Working from home, I now have an online business teaching others how to realize their passions, map out their goals in business and in life, and make those goals their new reality. I'm just over here telling it exactly like it is as we dive in on topics like burnout, balancing it all, finding joy, and dreaming up those crazy cool next chapters of your life. Business, mindset, breaking barriers, and showing up for yourself and the people you care about are all things we talk about here. Ready to become the curator of your best life? Lean in, take a listen, and let me challenge you and cheer you on to creating a life you absolutely love. This is the Freedom Culture Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Freedom Culture Podcast. Today, in this episode, I want to talk to you about passion and motivation and what is really driving you. So it took me years and years to realize why I was doing the things that I was doing, what was really the driving force in my life. And even now, things change, right? But I'm going to share with you a story, and I want to share with you a really cool exercise that you can do if you're struggling to find out what you're passionate about, what is going to motivate you into doing something great. And maybe you already are doing something great. Maybe you already know what you're here to do. But if you're someone who's struggling to discover this, I'm going to share with you some really cool things that can help you uncover that for yourself. So in discovering what you're passionate about and what is really motivating you, sometimes those motivators are under the surface, and we need help pulling away those surface level ideas and emotions to really uncover what it is that is driving us. What is the reason that you get out of bed every day? Why do you do the job that you're doing, or why do you have the business that you have, or whatever it is that you're doing? Like, are you exactly where you want to be in that? So I think this entire episode is really meant to sort of give you a little push into thinking, am I doing what I'm meant to be doing? And I don't know about you, but for most of my life, I've never really felt like there was any one thing that I was super good at. I remember myself being in grade school, and I felt like there were people all around me who had these amazing talents. This girl next to me, she could draw so wonderful, and her art always just looks great. And I couldn't even draw like the simplest of things. It's just not something that I was ever good at. And I would look her and I'd think, wow, she's so lucky. That's what I thought. I thought she's so lucky that she's great at that. I'm sure she'll do something great with it. Meanwhile, I don't think she draws. Like, that's not part of what she's doing with her life. But she was good at many things. But it's not just her. There were many people who I was like, wow, they're really great at that. And I never felt that about myself. I never felt like there was one thing or even a few things that I could say, wow, I'm actually really great at that. I always felt really average, and my schoolwork reflected that all the way up until I was about 26, 27 when I went back to college as a much older person. And then I really started to shine. But it took me years to really give myself permission to be great at something. I wish I could go back to that young girl and say, hey, it's okay to explore different things and to not know exactly what you want to do and to not know exactly what you're great at. That doesn't mean that you're never going to be great at anything, because nothing was obvious at that time. And I felt really different too. So I struggled with that for a really long time. But anyway, about 2 years ago, I was, I don't really know how I came across this tool, but I think it was either in a podcast episode or on some kind of course that I was taking. But it's called 7 Levels Deep, and it's an exercise that you do where you just ask yourself questions. And it really helps you to discover the real reason behind whatever it is you're trying to find out. So let me explain. So about 2 years ago, I decided, okay, I'm going to figure this out. Like, I really want to know what I want to do. Like, am I on the right path? Because at that time, what I really wanted was to help people. I wanted to have some kind of online platform where I could help other women, especially because I felt at the time that I was just at a point in my life where changes needed to happen. I was very busy. I had, two businesses I was running, and I really was being pulled to break into the online space and to start offering something to people who weren't immediately surrounding me out there in the world somewhere. I really, really felt like that's where I should be. But I really didn't know why, and I really didn't know what I was going to help people with. I was really struggling with that. And to be honest, I struggled with this for a lot longer than just 2 years ago. So anyway, I decided I'm going to do this exercise. So I'm going to ask myself, what do I want to do? So in asking that question, the first level of was really clear. I want to, work from home, helping people to discover their own power over their lives and help them make positive, impactful changes, something like that. So then when you answer that first question, then you ask the second question, which is, why is that important to you? And this is not an easy exercise all the time. Like, these answers didn't necessarily just come to me. And in fact, I believe I tried this exercise a few times. And the first time I tried it, I got stuck and I just couldn't proceed and I couldn't answer the question. So I had to sit with it for a bit. And it's perfectly fine to do that. But anyway, so the second question, why is that important to you? I answered it, and it wasn't so challenging. And I said, I feel called to help others, and I really want to share what I have learned to help other people earlier on in life. And so because I said that one thing, that's where the next question I think came up for me. So again, you're just going to ask yourself again, so why is that important to you? So why is it important for me to help people earlier on in life? And my answer was, it's important to me because I feel that I could have benefited from this knowledge at a much earlier age and would be further ahead than I am now. So I want to help others have this awareness at an earlier age. And then again, you're going another level deep. So why is that important to me? And I answered, this is important to me because I feel sometimes as though I spent the first 15 years of my adult life going in circles when I could have been going forward and creating a better life for my family sooner. So that's powerful, right? And you can understand how these different layers are just going a little bit deeper. And this is the catalyst for me, was the fifth deepness is, why is that important to me? So now I'm talking about creating a better life for my family sooner. And this is where I discovered something that my mom said to me when I was 18 years old. And I'm going to tell you a little story here before I tell you how I answered this question. So obviously the next question is, why is that important to you? So that's the fifth question. And when I was 18, my boyfriend and I lived together and I got pregnant. So I had finished high school. I was just started college, and I was talking to my mom on the phone. So she already knew that I was pregnant, and I guess she decided that she was going to have a conversation with me. She really didn't want for me to be a mom so soon. She was a mom very young. I think she was the same age when she became a mom, maybe 18, 19. And we just got talking, and she said, Steph, it's such a hard life. It's a hard life. And I felt that. I felt like, yeah, but what am I going to do? And I think she just wanted me to weigh my options and just make sure that I knew what I was doing, because what she was really saying was, it's going to be hard, and you're not going to get to do some of the things that you want to do. And it's going to be more challenging to do those things. And I didn't disagree with her. But she was a good role model in the sense of, she managed to do all kinds of things when she had us children at such a young age. And I felt like that was kind of disproving, understand was how hard it actually was, and how much harder it is when you have little ones at your feet, when you're trying to find your way in the world. So I hadn't even done anything yet. So she said something to me, though, that stood out, and this was part of my answer to the question. So here's my answer. So remember my last question, I answered because I feel like the first, 15 years of my life, I've been going in circles, blah, 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 and I could have been creating a better life for my family sooner. So the next question, why is that important to you? When I answered, I said, this is important to me because when I was 18, my mom saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She told me that I was the one that she thought would actually make something of myself. And it actually makes me want to cry when I read this back to myself. Because I think, honestly, I've been trying to fulfill this sort of prophecy that she handed me ever since. And I never realized that. So when I wrote this answer, I was like, holy shit. Sorry for the swear. But it had not occurred to me in 20 years that I was carrying that with me all of this time. And I knew she was right. That's probably the part about it that makes me the most emotional, is that I knew she was right. I knew I was the one. And I'm not saying that I was the one over my other siblings, or that's not what we're talking about. She just saw something in me, and that doesn't mean she didn't see anything in them. So I want to clarify that. She was saying, I really thought that you could do something. And I think she was just scared for me that if I had this child and became a mom so young, that I wouldn't get to do those things. And so the next question, so why is that important to me? This is the 6th level of deepness. I said it's important to me because I know she was right, that I'm the one and I will make something of myself. In fact, in many ways, I already have. But it's important mostly because I think that she had really hoped that I would be the one to change the course of our family's life. Maybe she didn't mean it that deeply, as in I could change our family, but I had begun to see it for what it was, and it's deep to me. And then the last level of deepness, why is that important to me? And I said, it's important to me now in this time and space because I am now truly aware that I'm limitless, and I know that I can not only make something of myself, but I can help others to do the same. And that's what I'm doing here. That is what I'm passionate about. And I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes because I still have so much work to do to become what it is I'm trying to become, but I can see it. And I believe that I will get there, but that did not happen overnight. It has been years of working on myself, years of trying to improve my mindset and managing my emotions and managing my impulses, because I am impulsive. I do love to just take something on and go ahead and dive in on something new. That is very much me. And it's much harder to just stay in what I'm working on and just stay the course and continue doing it. So that's something that I have to actually put a lot of energy towards. But in doing that 7 levels deep exercise, I don't know if I ever would have remembered that she said that to me. It was so an unconscious memory that was with me. I don't think that I would have really understood what I was carrying with me this whole time. And it's just something really, you think like it's just a simple little exercise, right? But it can really help you to uncover some truths about yourself and to really see, what's the driving force? Why are you doing what you're doing? Answering those questions wasn't easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I didn't expect it to give me anything that profound either. And like when I say profound, it's profound to me because I had forgotten all about it. And I didn't realize that that was something that was motivating me to be better and to acknowledge that I am meant for more. And I think we all are meant for more. We are all here to do something great. So what is it for you? And if you don't know, then it's the perfect time. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to figure out what that is. And I really wanted this whole episode to be around what it is that you're passionate about, what's motivating you to do the next thing. So what's next for you? I always want to ask people that because I think oftentimes we just kind of get stuck in the rut of living life and dealing with things that are coming our way every day and just sort of in a bit of survival mode, day to day to day to day and dealing with things, but we don't always take enough time to reflect and really understand why we're doing what we're doing in our lives and how that can severely impact your future and going forward. So even after I sort of discovered that I was carrying that with me, it wasn't like night and day change overnight. I just, oh yeah, I am meant for more and I'm going to do this, right? It's never that cut and dry. So I want you to know that I'm not sitting here saying that now that I discovered that I'm just, in a perfect place or anything. I don't ever consider myself to be striving for perfection or anything like that. I'm just doing it. This podcast isn't perfect and that doesn't even matter. For a while though, I didn't do it because I felt like I'm not sure that it's going to work, or I'm not sure, like I have imposter syndrome just like everybody else. It takes me maybe a little bit less time to get over that because I've practiced so much. I don't care anymore in my life that I can kind of move forward with things a little bit faster now. But it wasn't always the case. And I just wanted to share that with you. So when we're talking about what's motivating you and what's next for you, and do you really feel like what you're doing right now in your life is what you are meant to be doing? And if me even asking you that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, just sit in that for a minute and really ask yourself, like, why? Why is it making you feel uncomfortable? And literally that 7 levels deep exercise can help you answer just about anything. So since I've done that exercise 2 years ago and discovered something that I felt was really big for me, I've used it in other ways too. So I've used it to discover, why do I want to start a podcast? And what does that mean for me? And I've answered the same questions over and over. And it's really helped me to get clear on things before I'm jumping into it and really in it. So I just wanted to share that tool with you because I think it's genius. I really should look up the person who created it. I know it's a man. Let me just do that right now while I'm talking to you because it's important. I know Dean Graziosi uses it all of the time. Okay, so Joe Stump is his name. I just discovered this actually. I'm consulting with a man named Joe Stump who used this method with his high-level clients. So by going through all 7 levels, you'll uncover your true why, which will be the driving force that allows you to accomplish anything in life. So I think it's very true that if you know why you're doing something, you're going to be much more successful. And if you've ever studied Simon Sinek, he talks about this all the time, knowing your why, find your why. And I suppose sometimes you can get kind of tired of hearing that, like, I know my why. Yeah. So, but what happens once you know your why? What do you do with it? So if you know why you're doing something or why it is that you want to do something different in your life right now, I think we all can do something different. And that DSD comes from Amy Porterfield, who says it all the time. And I just love her. I follow her. She's a marketing genius in my mind. And she helps people create online courses. So she always says, if something's not working, it's time to DSD. So I think we oftentimes just don't do that enough in life. If right now what you're doing in your life is not getting you where you want to be, and let's face it, I don't know anybody who I've talked to as of late, and I talk to lots of people who are doing exactly what they want to be doing right now. So if you're not doing what you want to be doing right now, then it's time to do something different. And that can mean even the smallest changes or incorporating a new habit into your day that's going to really help you move forward in a big way as the compounding effects of creating that new habit are experienced over the course of time. So the 7 levels deep exercise is just one of those pieces of the pie that I think is really important and can help you discover those things about yourself. And I definitely wanted to make a point to share that on the show because it's something that I think is needed, and we need to remember why we're doing those things and what are those underlying factors that are laying in our subconscious that are pushing us forward to help us connect with those. So when I discovered that my mom, that's right, she did say that to me, like that actually happened on the phone. She said that to me. And to be honest, my mom and I didn't have those kinds of conversations often. And that's why it was even more profound to me. The fact that she said that to me was big for me because we just didn't have those kinds of conversations that deep, right? And it stuck with me forever. And I think that if I hadn't discovered that, I wouldn't necessarily have given myself the kind of permission that I needed to be more and to want more. And almost in the same, right? Like she also has said to me later in life of like, oh, you got to have more, and she would question my more. And I would be like, yeah. And I wish I'd have known then that, hey, you're the one who told me that I was meant for more, right? I just wish I would have said that to her then, right? Like, you're the one, but I didn't even realize it, right? It was never part of my knowledge base at that time. But when you discover that you're meant for more, and again, I'm going to say it again, like you are meant for more. You are. And don't even question that. Just know it. You don't have to question it. You don't have to know why. You don't need to know, what it is you're meant to do, but you have something in you that no one else has. You are unique and the world needs you just like you. So we all need you to stand up and be who you are unapologetically. Just be you. That's all that's needed. And you have everything within you right now that you need in order to do something great, in order to do whatever it is that you want to do. And if you still don't know what it is that you want to do, trust me, I've been there for so many years. I was like, what is it? Like, what am I going to do? These kinds of exercises are something that can help that. So I don't want to ramble too much on about it, but I'm going to share it with you. It'll be in the show notes and I want you to check it out. And I definitely want to hear your feedback about it. So please hop onto my Facebook page, stephaniesimmons.co, and share with me if you do the exercise, if you're willing to share the outcome, or even if you just want to give me a little snippet about it. I definitely want to hear from you. And share that you did the exercise. And if it brought something up for you, you can always DM me on Instagram, stephaniesimmons.co, and share with me what's going on for you. So I will catch you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in again for another episode of the Freedom Culture Podcast. And cheers. Yes, you just made it to the end of another episode of the Freedom Culture Podcast, and I'm so happy that you did. My goal with each episode is always to offer some type of inspiration for you in your life and your work. Thanks for tuning in, and if you found the show helpful or you're looking for any other resources mentioned in this episode, just hop on over to my website at stephaniesimmons.co and sign up. That way you can get notified when there's new episodes, or you can follow me over on Instagram at stephaniesimmons.co and just simply send me a direct message there with the word podcast to stay in the loop. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you next time on the Freedom Culture Podcast.